Hey, Maverick. That's my good boy. Yeah. Not working on the Jeep today. We're working on the Silverado again. It's a time for another out with the old and with the new video. Yeah, see the difference there? They got fuel, tachometer, speedometer, and coolant temperature. And on this other one, fuel, oil pressure, tachometer, speedometer, coolant temperature, and battery voltage. Yeah. This is a pretty easy install. It really is. You just need some basic tools. Just got a 7mm socket on this, a 10mm, and a ratchet, Phillips head screwdriver, a couple of plastic pry bars. You don't use plastic because you don't want to, damage your plastic trim and all that stuff. And got a T15 Torx bit. I got mine on this cheap little bendy deal, and that's because getting to these things can be a little difficult. There's not much torque on them, so you don't really have to have a whole lot. You can do this with a ratchet, of course, but whatever. Anyways, but I start out by taking that off, and you can see my parking brake release. I don't have a handle here. Up in there, that's where you need to get that 10mm. And if you do have the parking brake release right here, you'll have to pull it out so you can get your 10mm socket up in there. Hey, like I said, you pull this panel off. This panel here, along with that 10mm, you also got a couple of Phillips head screws. One of them's up in here, one of them's over on this end. This panel just pulls straight out. You have to take this off. It pulls straight out. And of course you got your wiring back here for your light switch and everything. Let's see, I already showed you the T15 Torx screws up in here. There's two of them. And then when you get that off, this top piece will just pull straight out. The surround thing, it's held on with some 7mm bolts. There's two holding this on. There's one down in this corner and one over in this corner. And then there's two more that actually hold the gauge cluster in, 7mm as well. One of them's up in this corner and one of them's up in this corner. So, get all that out. All you gotta do is unplug the old unit, plug the new one in. All the necessary sensors and wiring are already installed in your truck. That's no big deal. There's a couple of things you gotta be aware of before you buy a new gauge cluster to do this upgrade. I like to call these junkyard upgrades because that's basically what it is. This came from a junkyard. This is out of a 2011 Z71 Avalanche. And anyways, like I said, there's a couple of things you got to be aware of. This right here is one of them. The PRND 321. That's what the truck has. It's got the 4-speed automatic transmission. You also see models that say PRND-M. That obviously won't work with this truck, so I had to have one with, this configuration right here. You got to be aware of that, and you also have to be aware of this piece. It says here it's one piece. Well, it's actually two pieces that have been bonded together at the Chevrolet factory to make it one piece. There's also another style that's two pieces. It's got these little tabs that fit into these little square holes. Now, this one came with the gauge cluster. It came out of the Avalanche, and it wouldn't work in this truck. It came as a package. I didn't buy this separately, so you know, not out any money there. Actually got a great deal on this thing. But anyway, you need to make sure of which style yours has. Like I said, this wouldn't interchange in my truck. Don't know if it will on yours or not, so just be aware of that. Anyway, when I installed this, I documented what my odometer reading was, because your odometer reading is stored within the gauge cluster. It's not stored in the ECM or anything like that. And when you change these out, you get the odometer reading from the donor truck. Anyways, I recorded the reading from my old gauge cluster, and I set the trip meter because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it adjusted for a while. So set the trip meter so I can just, do a little basic math and figure out what the correct odometer reading is. I'm going to get that adjusted today. A buddy of mine's got the necessary equipment to do that with. It's really an easy job. Shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. So anyways, that's another out with the old and with the new video. All right, guys, have a great day.